Hey, welcome to my latest video. Just a quick warning, this video does contain images of graphic violence. And also, if you like the videos I do make, please also check out my Patreon page and help this channel keep going. And also check out my other videos, they're all about Commodore computers. I appreciate your support. Now maybe you've just bought the 64 and you've gone through all the console games and you're not too sure what to play next, or maybe you're new to the Commodore 64 scene and you're just not sure what sort of games you want to play. Well, this series is designed to help you to check out games that may have gone under the radar, may not have been so popular, but are worthwhile looking at. And today's game is Project FIRESTART. In 1986, Jeff Tunnell and Damon Sly created the foundations of the modern survival horror game as the co-founders of Dynamics. They were working with Electronic Arts at the time, and Trip Hawkins, the founder of Electronic Arts, asked, "Can a computer make you cry?" They thought, that is Jeff Tunnell and Damon Sly, well, that might be kind of hard, but maybe it could make you feel fear. Enter Project FIRESTART. What makes this game so exciting is that the AMIGA was already well established, yet Dynamics made this game for the Commodore 64. A machine, by the time it was released, was already 7 years old. The game features a story with multiple paths and endings. It sort of reminds you of those choose-your-own-adventure storybooks that you had when you were a kid. It's set in 2061, and you are the young agent John Hawking of the United System States, who is sent to a research ship called Prometheus in orbit around the moon Titan. Prometheus has gone quiet, and John Hawking has to find any survivors and figure out what happened. Project FIRESTART isn't an action game, it's not a shoot 'em up game, but it's more of a strategy game, a game that's full of puzzles and it's suspense. It builds on the suspense like a classic 1970s horror movie. And the cutscenes are fantastic. They really build the story. And the start of the game, you actually find out you can't take your normal cannon-sized gun because you might rupture the hull of the spaceship Prometheus. And you find out the gun you need to take is almost an overglorified pea shooter. But that's all you've got to defend yourself, which makes the game even more challenging. And it's not one that's just designed to be a shoot 'em up. You need to sometimes run from alien monsters on Prometheus. If this all sounds like an Aliens movie, you wouldn't be mistaken, because part of the inspiration for Dynamics of making this game was Aliens. Yes, that's right, that classic Ridley Scott and James Cameron movies inspired this game. The development of Project FIRESTART took 2.5 years due to trying to squeeze everything possible into the Commodore 64 and also to get everything out of the Commodore 64 to make this a chilling, suspenseful game. By the time it was ready for release, Dynamics had really parted ways with Electronic Arts and began working with Activision. So neither Dynamics or Electronic Arts were really interested in pushing this game, so it really went under the radar. And this makes this game a hidden little gem. It all starts when you dock your spaceship into Prometheus loading dock. This isn't an action game, as I mentioned, but more of a strategy game. For the purpose of this demo, I've actually put on unlimited lives and unlimited ammo. Yes, that doesn't sound right, does it? It sounds like I'm cheating. It just saves me dying all the time and restarting the game, because you only have one life on this game. What I love about this game is that it tells a story. It has suspenseful cutscenes, just like that. You realize straight away you are in for trouble. It takes some time before you even find alien monsters to fight, though, because this is not an action shoot 'em up game. It's a game that's building. I sort of think it's a bit like Jaws. You never see the shark until the end, and it's a bit like this game here. You don't see the aliens for quite a few minutes into the game. You're exploring the ship, and then eventually when you do find them, it gives you the willies. It gives you a heck of a fright. This is interesting. This room here is the armory. See up there in the corner, it's got TNT. Do not shoot the TNT with your gun, because that's what I did. And this is what happened. And that was the end of the game. So I had to actually restart the whole game and just pretend I didn't do that at all. So now I'm in the armory room and I'm continuing. I haven't shot any TNT and I'm still exploring Prometheus. I love this spaceship because there's so many different elements you can actually muck around with, that you can interact with. For example, this room has a button. I can activate the laser gate. Turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. Oh, great fun. In between different scenes, it has a 3-second to 4-second loading time, so it's a multi-load disc game. So I've cut those pieces out of this demo video, but just be aware, it is quite a slow loading game, each different scene, each different area of the spaceship, but it's definitely worthwhile playing. This game really did go under the radar, even though Zap 64, the classic 80s C64 gaming magazine, rated it at 91%. At this stage we need to change discs. If you're on a real Commodore 64, that's not an issue, you just put a new disc in. But on the C64, I'll show you how to do this. First of all, you click the menu button on your joystick, and then you move up to the file that you need to load. This one here. You press the fire button, that'll load it into the disk drive. Now you push the menu button again, and then press fire on your joystick to load. It's as simple as that. Now this game has got some really interesting features, I think, from classic 70s and 80s sci-fi. Don't those two engines look like the Starship Enterprise? Let me know what you think. I think it does. Let me know in the comments below. And this scene, I think, looks a bit like Black Hole. Holy moly, give me a fright. Okay, this really shows us how terrible this gun is. Look how slow it is to try and kill an alien. Wait a minute. Okay, let's get rid of this one here as well. See how slow it is to actually be able to shoot an alien with this pea shooter? It makes it really... Oh, another one. Okay, like I was saying, doesn't that look like the ship from the Black Hole? Let me know in the comments below if you think that's the case. Every time that music comes up, you just know there's an alien on your tail or right in front of you. It gives you the willies in the middle of the night. It's well, it did back in the 1980s anyway, when I was a kid. These animals or these creatures were genetically modified by the scientists or the engineers on this crew, and the crew paid dearly, as you can see from that scene. Now, this is quite a long corridor. There's a lot of long corridors that add to the dimension and the depth of this spaceship. And, oh, okay, obviously there's an alien right in front of me. I'm a little bit trigger happy, as you can see. We'll just get rid of this alien and then we'll carry on our journey throughout the ship Prometheus. He's not there. He's not in front of me, he's not behind me. I'm not too sure where he is. But anyway, I'll show you a few cutscenes, different scenes from this game. Throughout this ship, there's so many different elements you can interact with. Different cutscenes that add to the story, the last stand, the struggle from the crew to survive. Pretty gory, eh? Especially for a kid to watch, 1980s. So it's like, whoa, this is awesome. That's what I was actually thinking. There's different computers and terminals throughout the spaceship that you can interact with. For example, you can lower this lead shield or raise it. This shows us where the aliens must have broken out of confinement. You can also interact with some of the bodies on the ground as well. Here's one of the laboratories, and one of the docile creatures, I believe, that they genetically modified. And also throughout the game you can save your progress on the C64 as well, so that's a handy little feature as well, especially when you die so frequently like I do. So back to this corridor. I just want to get rid of this alien that was obviously behind me because he wasn't in front of me. Yeah, the music starts again, builds up the tension. No, okay, I thought he was going to come into the screen, but he's not going to come to the screen. I'll find him. Here he is. Okay, I better get some distance because this gun is really, really bad. I think you can probably upgrade this gun, but I haven't worked out how to do that yet. Check out the notice board. Nothing interesting there. Oh, blimey heck. Okay, that's not going to work. I'll have to get some distance between me and him. This game is definitely good exercise because you do a lot of running away from aliens. And, well, these things are like kangaroos in Australia. There's never one bouncing across the road. There's always multiple. I lived in Australia for a few years. As you explore the ship, you discover there are 2 survivors. There's Dr. Einar, who's the scientist who created these creatures, and also Mary, who you have to rescue as well. Okay, now I'm going to do a bit of a spoiler, so be aware. I'm about to show you the ending of this game. Now, you may be wondering, why do that? Why do that? Well, there's actually multiple endings, so this is only one possible ending. So I'm not going to totally ruin it for you, but it gives you an idea of the storytelling that this game provides, right down to the end. Don't you just love that atmospheric music? Now, depending on what you do during the game, the ending will be a little bit different. There's about 4 or 5 different possible endings. This is one of them. And I'll just give you a little tip. What you do right now makes a big difference in the ending of this particular scenario. Obviously I did the right thing. This game is truly a widely unappreciated gem on the Commodore 64. The fact that it has this obvious vulnerability in the lead character, you're armed with this little pea shooter of a gun, you're on a ship infested with alien monsters, it makes it really a challenging game. And the backstory that this game develops through the crew logs found in some of the computer terminals, the last stand battles skewed across with bodies, all these things add to the story of Project FIRESTART. I do love that eerie soundtrack music. This really makes it a classic survival horror game. In fact, I think this is actually the first survival horror game. That's my understanding anyway. It's a game that other ones like Resident Evil, Alone in the Dark, and other types of games like that continued the genre. But this was the birth of that genre. So isn't that interesting on the Commodore 64? So, did you like the look of Project FIRESTART? Well, download it and try it out on your classic Commodore 64 or on the new C64. I'll add other games over the next couple of weeks to my channel, so look out for those as well. But I will continue to do my Commodore 64 and my Commodore unboxings and restoration projects, and also I have a couple of really interesting projects that I'm working on right now. Look out for those. So don't forget, please subscribe, please share my channel with others, and I'll see you next time.